Hi, I'm Janine Turner, and this is day one of Front Porch Philosophy. This is my front porch. The sun is setting, so it's sort of hard to see. This is my front porch, and I'm Janine Turner, and this is Front Porch Philosophy. You know, look, I just think that the world has gotten so negative, and it's so difficult, and it's so depressing, and we're bombarded with 24-hour news cycles and Facebook things and CNN alerts and Fox News alerts and everything is just so overwhelming that I thought it's time to take a deep breath, isn't it? Let's just take a deep breath and meditate and think and read and let's just have a little philosophy. Let's have a little conversation. So this is day one of Front Porch Philosophy, and today I want to share this book with you. I've had it forever, and one day I just picked it up. Samuel Stumpf wrote Socrates to Sartre, The History of Philosophy. And one of my favorites is Heraclitus, so I thought we'd start with Heraclitus. And Heraclitus believed in change, like if you can't step in the same river twice, that everything is changing around us, but this change is okay because that's where the growth and that good things come of this. And so he talked about flux and he talked about fire, and he actually inspired our founding fathers. And of course, James Madison said, "Liberty is to faction what air is to fire." I'm like, aha, he probably got this from Heraclitus. And our founders took time to read the philosophers. Our children don't do this anymore. There's no God, even a God of their choice in schools anymore, which I think there should be a God of their choice, but isn't in their schools. They don't have any coping skills. They don't talk about philosophy or having a conversation, and this could be potentially damning not only for their future but for our country. But our founding fathers took time to learn about the philosophers, and then they could think, then they could listen, then they could have dialogue and discussions with one another. We have definitely lost that ability in our country today. So anyway, he talked about a state of flux. And last week I had, I had a lot of flux in my week last week. But, I remained sober and dedicated to God and prayed and sought out friends and experts. And I really learned a lot from the experience, and I am on a higher plane today than I was before the flux, so to speak. So don't be afraid of difficult times. It's through the difficult times, really, that I believe we learn the most. And so Heraclitus does talk about flux, and I wanted to share some things. He says, this is from this book, says Heraclitus that, quote, "War is common and justice is strife, and that all things happen by strife and necessity." Right? This is part of life, and this is how we grow. But he goes on to say, quote, "What is in opposition is in concert, and from what differs comes the most beautiful harmony." Isn't that great? I mean, that's just really, we can have a beautiful harmony from what differs. And I thought that was by strife and necessity, that these are the things that can lead to beautiful harmonies. But he also talks about here, change requires opposites and diverse things. That's actually a quote from Samuel Stumpf, but he's talking about Heraclitus, and what he believed is that change requires opposites and diverse things. So I don't think we need to be afraid anymore of diverse conversations, but also from these type of things that happen in our lives, that we can actually learn from them. So I wanted to share that with you today. And also I want to talk about Heraclitus's Fragment 125. And in Fragment 125, he talks, this is a modern day rendition of it, but even a sacred barley drink separates when it is not stirred. Right? So this barley drink was a mixture of different ingredients, oil and I think wine and a little barley and whatnot, and it would just separate, sort of like a salad dressing, and but it had to be stirred for it to have its effervescence in its life. So yeah, it's okay to have a little flux, for things to stir up a little bit. This is the only way we grow. So don't be afraid. Know that if you remain calm, that through these times we can actually learn the most and end up on a higher plane. And it's because of the flux that I went through last week that I'm now doing Front Porch Philosophy. So yeah, I hope you have a wonderful day, and God bless.